Launchball is an awesome engineering game created by a science museum in London. And playing Launchball gives you practice with the engineering design process and also teaches you about important engineering tools and components and materials like copper, springs, rubber, um, electromagnets, and things like that. To play Launchball, first you want to click on the link that I gave you on Google Classroom, or you can just type in Launchball to Google. So if I go to Google and I type in Launchball, what pops up is Launchball Learning Resources. I click on that first link, Launchball Learning Resources, and I can click Play Launchball Full Screen to get the big screen. When I get to this first screen, I definitely want to start out with playing the levels. And then once I really know how to play, then I can move on to create and share. So to play the levels, you click the arrow. And you definitely should start with the warm-up. So I'll start with Blown Away. Once this opens up, what you have is a puzzle. A ball is going to come out of the black circle, and you need to figure out how to get the ball to the goal. What you have to use are the materials that are already in the board of the level, and also any materials down here at the bottom of the screen. To find out what materials are, you can just put your mouse clicker on top of a material and leave it there, and a description will pop up. Okay, so these orange blocks right here are copper, and it says this copper block conducts heat and glows red when hot. It also conducts electricity. These pink triangles right here are escalators. Add electrical power to this escalator to move the ball upwards. Over here we have a fan. This rotatable block really blows in all directions, but it needs electricity to work. And then way down here, to see what this is, I grab it with the mouse and drag it to the middle, and it tells me this is a wind turbine. So point the fan at this block to produce electricity, but it won't conduct heat. Okay, so the first step you want to take when you work to solve a Launchball level is just to test out. Come down to the bottom here, on the bottom right where it says test, click test and see what happens if you do nothing. So if I click test here, what happens? I see that the fan is running up here with the battery, blowing some air. The ball just drops down and it does not go up the escalator. The escalator is not working. So I can hit stop, and then I have to think like an engineer, and I can say, well, what do I need to do to get my escalator working? Because it looks like I need my escalator working to get the ball up to the goal. If I put my mouse back on the escalator, it says add electrical power to this escalator to move the ball upward. And I see my electrical power is way up there. There's my battery, but I can't move the battery because it didn't start down here where my materials were. The battery was just placed in the level. The only thing I can move around is this piece right here. So if I remind myself what this is, it says point the fan at this block to produce electricity. Okay, so if I put this where the fan is, let's see if I can generate some electricity. So I'm going to start it right there. I'll press test again and see what happens. And I could see I've got electricity in my wind turbine. It's spinning around, but it's not getting to my escalator. So I'm going to stop. Say, well, where could I move it? This says copper. This copper block conducts heat and glows red when hot. It also conducts electricity, Maybe the copper will carry the electricity to my escalator. So I'm going to move down my wind turbine and give it another go. Yep, that's what I needed. So I get this pretty little sound. I made the goal. And I'm going to show you one other thing too, which is there are lots of different ways to solve the different levels. We solved it the first time by putting the wind turbine here. But I think if I also put the wind turbine here, electricity does flow diagonally. And I think this might work too. Let's test this out. Oh, no, it doesn't this way. So there's not enough air going from the fan. So it looks like I have to have the wind turbine there. But on some levels, you've got a lot of different ways to solve the level. In this one, it looks like that might be my only option in the warm-up. Okay, so there's a fun fact that happens at the end when you solve a level. So you can read about a fun fact about electricity or engineering, and then you can click next to go on to another level. Okay, so here we are at another warm-up level. We've got a fan. We know what that is. We've got our goal. The ball is going to come out of this hole at the start. Okay, I'm going to click test to see what happens. The ball just comes out and sits there. Looks like we need to blow it down to the goal. I'm going to stop it. Put my battery in there. Okay, and let's give this a try. Super easy. We just needed to power the fan. And I'm going to try, actually, let me go back one. Let me see if this one would have let me power. Let me go back to powering up. Let me see if I could have powered this one diagonally, just to give it a test. Yep. So there are two ways to solve this level. Okay. All right. First, you should go and do these warm-up levels to try out different tools. I'll do one more with you. I'll do lights and mirrors. Okay. We'll start by testing it out. The ball comes out, just sits there, and I've got a light going over here. Let's see what this stuff is that we have. This is, let me stop it, put the mouse over. It says torch. You can aim the beam in any direction. Best of all, it works on its own. Okay, this is solar cell. Point a light beam at this block to produce electricity, but it won't conduct heat. So we can get electricity by pointing light here. And this, electromagnet. Add electricity and this becomes one adjustable and seriously strong magnet. All right, so it looks like we can maybe use this magnet to pull the ball up to the goal, but we've got to turn it on with some electricity. This solar cell will produce electricity, but it needs light. Our light's over here, and I cannot move it or switch direction. So let's see what I have here. I'm going to drag this on here, put my mouse over it. It says mirror. Use this mirror block to reflect a light beam, or simply bounce the ball off it. All right, so if I put this up here in my light, let's see what happens. Nothing. But when I put my mouse over the mirror, if I click it, I have a direction, and that means I can change the direction of the mirror by clicking. So if I put the mirror like this, maybe my light will travel up and to the solar cell. Yep, it turned on our electromagnet and got the ball to the goal. Okay, so I definitely suggest doing the warm-up levels first, and then you can click to the actual levels. There are 3 rooms: tricky, crafty, and sneaky, which means you have 15 levels that you can solve. Some of them are very tricky. Some of them are not so bad. Some of them you might find really easy, but your brother or sister finds very hard, and vice versa. So it just sort of depends on how you think which ones are easier or harder for you. Okay, I'll pop into bomb chamber as my last one that I will show you. Okay, If I click test, the ball drops, just stops right where it is. Press stop. Look over here. Bomb. Hit this bad boy and you're dead meat. It's explosive. So we don't want to go over there. And we don't really have anything. We just have plain blocks. Okay, squares and curves. And down here, I just have a slope. All right, let's try, if I put the slope up here in the middle, or I could put it up here. Let's give it a try. Oh no. Okay, so I blew up the ball. But what I can remember is if I put my mouse and click on the slope, I have this arrow, which means I can click it and change direction. So I can bring the ball over to the other side and meet the goal. Okay, and if I want to do that again, just to show you there are different ways to solve it, if I have it the slope down here, it still works. Okay, I can bounce the ball over on the side and get to the goal. Here comes a fun fact about materials. Okay, I'm going to go ahead back to the home page. Definitely start with the warm-up levels to remind yourself what to do and learn about some materials. Remember, you put the mouse over a material to learn what it is. Then you can go to the levels, check out the different rooms. Oh, did I say 15? It looks like we have 3 rooms of 10, so there are actually 30 levels to practice. After you are really good with these levels, then I will have another video to help you create and share where you can make your own levels to share with your friends and classmates, which is a lot of fun. I hope you have fun with this. I know if you play, you will be building your engineering skills. If you get frustrated, take a break, reload, go to another room, work with a family member. All of those are good strategies. And occasionally Launchball will just crash. It will just glitch and you'll be trying to move something and it won't move. That just happens every once in a while. If you get stuck and you can't move your material no matter what you're doing, just come up to the top. You can reload your page. You might lose a little bit of work, but it's just something that happens sometimes in an otherwise good game. So hopefully you won't lose too much of your work. If you're worried about losing work and the page is frozen, you can always take a picture, like with a phone, to remind yourself what you were doing before you press reload. Okay, have fun. Send me any messages if you would like some help. I'd be happy to call and talk with you over the phone to help you through a level, or else just send you some hints. Oh, and you know what? That reminds me, there is actually a hint function in here too. If you want a hint, you can go down to the question mark. Level hint. So this just says, like, for the bomb chamber, to avoid an explosive end, take another route to the goal. Okay, remember, tap and hold on any block to see what it does. So you can find a hint. I don't normally tell kids about the hints because I don't think you need them. One final thing, I guess, is you can turn the sound off. If the lunch ball sound just drives your family crazy, you can turn it off by just pressing this button down at the bottom. Okay. All right. Have a good time playing, and I hope to hear from you soon on Google Classroom. Bye-bye.